What up, peeps? Welcome to the Kisscapades podcast. I'm your host, John Telewa, aka the Kiss Bandit. And in this show, we explore the key elements that shape our fulfilling existence, from health and well-being to financial success, meaningful relationships, and the pursuit of happiness. We cover it all. Our guests include experts, professionals, and everyday individuals who have remarkable stories to tell. Tune in to learn practical tips, gain valuable insights, and discover strategies for personal growth and transformation. Whether you're seeking to improve your health, build your wealth, enhance relationships, or find lasting happiness, we got you covered. Welcome to today's episode. What up, peeps? Brand new episode. We have a very, very special guest today. I know I keep calling all my guests special, but anyone who's coming to my platform, trust me, like this is just something that I've seen in them, and I think we need to like unravel like what's there, you know.
Yeah.
Before like, you know, we miss out on anything. We miss out on any partnerships, future relationships. It's like, hey, come to the podcast. Let's have a chat, and you know, we can always see where it goes. But anyway, I'll let you introduce yourself because, you know, it's your first time on my platform. I don't know if you've done any other podcasts out there. But before we get to that, just introduce yourself, tell the people what you do, and then I think we can take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Alan Jeremy, and I am a self-taught software engineer turned entrepreneur. And right now I'm building a FinTech and some AI stuff. So yeah, basically I'm obsessed with learning, and I'm obsessed with teaching people the things that I do learn. So that's how Manifest Finance came about, which is the channel page on Instagram that you checked out and then invited me to the pod.
Is it on YouTube or no?
No. It's just Instagram Reels for now. Yeah.
You know, you can just change the reels to shorts.
To shorts. Yeah. I
mean, you have to, because you're, and I don't think if you understand how, anytime I find someone who goes out of their way to do anything that's finance related,
yeah,
I respect that so much, because like, as much as you'd want to ignore finance, not talk about it, you don't want that reality check to slap you.
Yeah.
When you are like, you know, tied down on a corner and trying to figure things out, retirement, bills, emergency funds, all those things.
Yeah.
But just in a nutshell, how would you kind of define what that channel is about? Like the finance page.
Right.
It's tied to the company, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is
it's a FinTech. So that means finance and technology.
That's what it means. That's what it means. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a FinTech, but originally how it started was We
need, for the people who are listening, we have to get it right. But also, of course, not block your face.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So how it started was, first I ran an experiment.
Yeah. No. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very subtle. When now we play it back, it's very subtle.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's just because it's sensitive, but you know, it's doing its thing right now already.
Yeah. So first, I'd gotten this new phone, and I love listening to Jay-Z. You'll see how this connects to the finance page. But what ended up happening was I heard that Jay-Z doesn't write what he raps. And I was like, that's incredible. I wonder if I can speak without writing. So when I got this new phone, I was like, okay, let me conduct an experiment. I'm going to record 14 videos I'm going to record like 10 videos a day for like 3 days or something. 10 videos a day? Yeah. So, and the only realistic way to do that is to not script it.
Of course.
Yeah. So I tried. I looked like an egg in those videos, but it proved one thing to me, which was I was able to explain and articulate things without having to write a script. So the next thing I ended up doing is I got this like beginner camera, so to speak. It was a Canon M50 Mark II and a 50mm lens. And a few cheap lights here and there. And I decided, you know what? I think I have learned enough that I can share a lot with people, because people kept asking me for various things. So it was either money related or it was tech related. And I figured that, you know, teaching people through videos scales a lot better than calling someone, oh, do this, do that. So I just started recording videos, and more often than not, I would record, I think, 5 to 20 videos per day. And then because I have a day job, so I have a day job and then I have side projects. So I'd record 5 to 10 videos a day, 5 to 20 videos a day, and then post them maybe 1 or 2 in a day. And eventually, people started like resonating with the content, and yeah, that went on. So did a couple of videos. So far, I think we've done 114 videos, and it's usually pretty fast. So I knew that the only way to stay consistent with this was to keep it simple, which is don't script it. As soon as the camera starts rolling, just talk. Like, just talk.
So are they all one takes?
Yeah, most of them are one takes. Very rarely I'll do like a second take, but it's not usually because of what I'm saying. It's because maybe I put autofocus on the camera and then now it's focus pulling. It's less of the audio, because sometimes I think that the mistakes add authenticity, and authenticity sells. So
That's even me, exactly. I'm always like, even people come to the podcast and they're like, are you sure you're okay with people? I'm like, yeah, people can walk around if they want. Because actually, I was doing my podcast in a restaurant. I was always doing my podcast in Ant Cafe. So you can imagine people's traffic, the sound. I'm trying to balance everything. But I was like, people still paid attention. So now in a controlled environment, more like studio-wise and everything, any small mistake, I'd just brush it off, because I'm like, yo, in a restaurant, a lot is happening.
How did you get the audio to work in a restaurant setting, though?
I mean, now that's where I actually understood the power of like just even 2 small gadgets. I was using Zoom H6.
I have no idea what that is.
Like 2 small recorders that, you know, have like 2 mic ports and everything. Yeah, I'm sure you know at the back of the head what I'm describing. Yeah. So, and I was using that and 2 like just handheld mics, but I got like the 2 little mic stands.
Like the rapper microphones?
Exactly. And it actually worked well. And a lot of people like were connecting with it, and they were like, and even the waiters were now serving us like while we just talk.
Oh, for real?
And everyone like, hey, so what's that we're actually ordering? But now people start talking about so many other different things, and it was like, but that's what I could use then, because I was given the platform. I was like, you can do whatever you want with the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You want to shoot a podcast, you want to come eat and leave, do your reels. I was like, you know what, I'll do the podcast. Okay. So shout out to Art Cafe, even though we're still not doing something together, but you know, they really gave me a really nice foundation for the podcast, because I met a lot of people, and actually that's why everything now it is what it is, because it started from somebody saw my effort and they actually boosted. But you know, enough of, we're not talking about me, we're here because I bumped into him in CBD randomly.
Yeah.
And even with her, she always notices every time.
For the people that are not watching, her is Eva.
Oh, sorry, Eva.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they see her a lot running around, and she's always on my behind the scenes all the time. So people see her enough times. But anytime even I talk to someone, I'm always like, yo, take his info.
Yeah.
Just because he was curious about like a gimbal that I was using.
Yeah.
And I just told, send me a message on Instagram, because I didn't know what you do at all.
Yeah.
But now I open the page, I'm like, hey, interesting. Let me see, there's a company here attached to it. Now, FinTech, of course, a FinTech.
Yeah.
And then I click, and then I'm like, finance videos. I'm like, yo,
what are the
I
odds?
need to get him in the podcast now.
Yeah.
Because even on my podcast, I talk about health, wealth, love, and happiness.
Yeah.
But just the wealth part is so crucial, because a lot of people don't know how to navigate around it, especially even if you're getting like just a salary. They're like, yo, as long as my salary is coming in, investment is not like a strategy that people would even think about if salary is consistent.
Yeah. What's your definition of investment?
Of course, I would split it halfway.
Okay.
Any money that's coming in, one, the 50% has to go to high risk investments. Now I'm talking about like you can risk with crypto, and then my assistant knows somebody that if you go to with money,
Almost sounds like she knows someone who sells organs.
she knows somebody who, if you go with money, does he pray for the money or what do they do? And then the money all of a sudden it just multiplies by 2. But that's a story for another day. But
We need to talk.
But the 50% would go to something that's safe. Something like, for me, I believe safe investments would be things like government bonds. Because I would talk like what strategies that I would use. I would use something like bonds. Those ones are like consistent and they'll give me like dividends and stuff. But now the 50%, I would throw it in something that I'm ready to take risk. If I lose it, well and good. But also like the rewards are super high if anything goes well. If I got like in a certain position, like when people are crying crypto is doing badly, that's when you're supposed to be going in.
Crypto has done wonders for me.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when you understand. And it's almost the same concept with the stock market as well. Even with mutual funds that I do as well through the bank. When the market is really, really bad, that's now when you take your savings and you're like, you know what? Let me buy some mutual funds here. And anybody who did that probably like last year, the advantage is like when the stock is picking up, remember also like now in Kenya, you have the situation where the Kenya shilling is weakening, the dollar is going up. So that money is going up a little bit more X than you'd have expected, even by just having it in that investment, even without like the nini growing. So for me, investment would be like a safe bet that you can leave to compound or get dividends back with. And then the 50 other percent, you can now take it with, if it's your crypto, well and good. But if now you have any other business ideas, like your friend is like, yes, we partner, we ship these goods, we sell them like on an online platform. If it's GG, or those 2 platforms where you can sell like electronics and stuff, you do it. So like if you lose money, well and good, but you can still like take a risk with that for the purposes of trying to multiply. Like if it's 10x, 20x, that's up to you.
So you've mentioned, and it sounds like I'm interviewing you now.
No, it's all good. I like bouncing off like that conversation when it comes to finance.
So you mentioned that you put 50% in safe investments, right? Do you think this is a general rule that applies to everyone, or it specifically applies to people that are, getting older? And also, what's the definition of young enough to take high risk, and what's the definition of too old to take too much high risk? Like, is there a formula, or is this on a case by case basis?
Now, for me, I'm a bachelor. I can take all the risks. If I lose everything in this house today, as long as I get food and somewhere to sleep, I'll still make it all back. But if I have, like, let's say 2 kids and a wife, I have people I have to come back home and answer to. I can't just say, like, I put all the money. I bought Ethereum with all the money, and now the market is not doing well. I bought a Bored Ape with all the money, and then now it's not doing well. So that, I think, risk depends on if you have other mouths to feed in the house. You can't go all out when it comes to risky investments. Now you'll have to tiptoe with how you're with the amount of money you can throw in there. But for me, I can go all in. I can say like all bets on this, 50%, but the other 50%, I have to just,
well, it's not really all bets if it's 50%.
No. I won't go all in because the other one I'd say like now for like something like rent, but also like now that's for, I'm talking about somebody who's like an entrepreneur. I'm not doing an 8 to 5, but someone who's doing an 8 to 5, they can put it all in because salary is coming in at the end of the month. So for me, I have to be more considerate of like, hey, okay, so there needs to be something, or at least not unless I've paid rent, a proper lump sum for like a year. If anything happens, like I'm still good.
Which is interesting because I think people talk about investment a lot, but the yield on investments makes more sense the higher the amount you have to invest. And sure, you could say that you're going to put in like 1,000 or 10. Is the audience Kenyan or like mixed?
All.
Okay.
All. So I'm international.
That's awesome. So you can say that you're going to put in, let's say, $100 a month, right? And sure, over time that will compound and give you like a large return. But a person who just puts in, I don't know, like 100,000 this year,
Oh, the whole year.
Yeah, as an example.
Okay,
So let's say if you're putting in
Yeah.
how much? If you're putting in $100 a month for 1 year, that's $1,200.
Yeah.
Right. But let's say there's a person who has access to capital and they put in 100,000.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, it's much easier for the person who has a larger amount, and I'll get to why I am mentioning this.
Yeah.
The person who has a larger amount stashed up will get a high enough return that their return can allow them to potentially sustain their life.
True.
So, my question is, I don't think a lot of people say that investments are bad, right? For a lot of people, it's, oh, I don't have enough money, which there are two potential reasons for. One is you mismanage your funds, which is you spend on things you don't need to spend on. But the other reason is you simply don't make enough. So I want to focus on like
If you're not making enough.
yeah, if you're not making enough, what advice would you give someone on what should they do to exponentially increase their income so that their investments can yield higher results?
You have to go all in. Now this is a situation where you have to understand, because you're trying to build wealth at this point.
Yeah.
Because even when it comes to investments, it's a good thing the way you've said. Somebody with a lump sum, it's
Yeah.
either they already put in some work somewhere, they've gotten
Yeah.
a lump sum, or they're coming from money already.
Yeah.
So they can say, like, today I want to invest like 2-3 milli.
Yeah.
And they can easily do that without like getting stressed out. It's like, hey, this is the only money that I have. Mbele nyuma. No. So for somebody who's trying to build, you have to understand, even in business, let's say you're opening a shop. Tomorrow there could be floods, there could be riots, or somebody could come and build competition like next to you. A Naivas would open, a Quick Mart, and you'd be out of business.
Yeah.
So that's why for somebody with less capital, you just have to be able to risk it. In fact, you have no choice, because how else do you scale up?
Yeah.
You have to be like those ones of like, I'm going all in. It
Yeah.
can 10x. I will push, advertise, whatever it is I'm doing. But my aim is to try and build and scale up as much as I can. So you have
Okay.
to risk.
Yeah. So
You can't play safe and you don't, because first of all, you already don't have anything. You have nothing to lose.
that's true. I want to try and make this a little less abstract so
Okay.
that people can benefit a lot more from it, which is, okay, so you have to risk.
Yeah.
The next question someone would ask is, what do I risk on? Like, how do you think someone should evaluate whether or not something is, quote unquote, viable or something worth putting everything in? And how do you think people should find their first of all, do you think people should work on their passion, or they should work on the thing that will monetize most easily? What?
And, easily. Uh-huh.
Easily. Yeah.
Because honestly, I was more of the passion guy. Like, even if a client doesn't pay me, I'd be like, hey, I can do it to you for free.
Yeah.
But that opened more doors to me for networking.
Yeah.
And understanding just how to deal with people, just picking up people's character, negotiating.
Yeah.
Where I was paid, I could easily like now say what? Now where I could get paid, I could easily understand like, okay, there's somebody actually who can appreciate what I'm doing, and they can pay me for this. Hey, wait. Before I stray with my conversation, what's the main question before I stray?
Yeah. The main question is, how do people discover what they should do in order to make...
Because you're asking about the passion, or now focus on money, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Passion is good, but we all know passion in a country like Kenya, it's very, very hard by there to just be rewarded just because you're passionate about something.
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
No, I'll tell you why. Because I've done it. And
Yeah.
for me, it's from personal experience. Like I've said, I'd be the person who'd wake up in the morning, I'd identify someone, be like, yo, I can even do content for you even if you're not paying me. Because in the hopes of like, I'm just polishing up on my skills and everything.
Yeah.
But now also I had to put something else on the side. I would do like to small businesses, like buy electronics, resell.
What kind of electronics?
iPhone cables, chargers for MacBooks. because I'm still like a techie person. So
Yeah. How did you know that those things were profitable to sell? Because what I'm trying to get at is, I don't. Generally speaking, people receive information, but they do not receive information more often than not in a format that teaches them how to understand.
I'll tell you
the
exactly, because here's the thing. Now, somebody who uses, and I'm saying because these are things that you would see around you. Like, let's say, I don't know the prices now, but then I would say, like, let's say an Android charger, you can buy it easily in town for probably like 200 shillings. Anybody who was using an iPhone then, if they wanted a charger, even if I didn't own our own, like the lowest entry-level iPhone, you know the charger for an iPhone was like 1,500 to 2 Gs.
Oh, really?
Easy.
I never got the iPhone because they had like a proprietary cable. That was the thing.
Exactly. That cable alone. So now you can only imagine. And iPhone cables, people lose them every single day. Every single day. Oh, somebody picked my cable. Somebody picked my cable. So in a week, if I could sell like 4 cables, I would make
6,000, 9,000.
No, we have to count also like money that's going to the suppliers there. Yeah. But the cost you could even get for like 5 sock.
Damn, that's like 3x.
Yeah, so easily, and that's just for the cable. But you also have to get like from a good supplier so that in case this cable has issues, I can still come back to you and actually still like exchange, or you can get, just like reimburse me or either give me like a different cable. Now, when we go to MacBook Pro chargers, jackpot.
Really?
Jackpot.
I don't know. I've never lost mine.
No, but if you're getting from a credible source, you can make like even, let's say, 4 Gs profit. But you also have to get from a good person. Like somebody who's like, and in case something happens to this, so you also have to understand. It also comes with a bit of risk because, you're telling your client, I'm giving you warranty. So in case so that profit is good, but you also have to pray to God that the charger does not just die randomly before the warranty is over, because now you're at a loss. But otherwise, if you're buying them from, that's why I was trying to explain. Like, you see, that's just something that I would notice from friends, maybe at an office. Those are things that were actually in demand. But I did not go out to try and research and like just, try and pick brain from here to what business Nini would work. It was just like iPhone cables. Okay, you need an iPhone. I know somebody who can sell an iPhone to you. I'd call my supplier. Okay, how much is the phone right now? I'd be like, okay, this guy is giving you how much? So I'm not even touching anything. I'd be like, my friend's shop is here. He's like, you can use you can use my receipts. You can use whatever. Just make some, and you'd still make money. But now that's the logical part of like, here it's not passion. It's like, I need to make money.
Yeah, of course, you're not passionate about iPhone cables.
No. But you see, and at the other end, I'm doing content for someone who's like, I don't even have money to pay you.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm saying like the passion thing in the country, I've tried it, honestly speaking.
I also tried
it. It didn't work. It didn't work out for me.
Yeah. I also tried it, but in a slightly different way, which is I started teaching myself how to code at 14. And I'm 14? Now, this is like 15 years down the line.
Yeah.
So for a very long time, I was like, I don't want a job because I don't want anyone telling me what to do. And on top of that, how do I put this? Kenyan jobs don't exactly pay the best. So I said I don't want to get a job. And if I were to get a job, it would have to be in an international, like in a foreign currency. Yeah. Ideally in a foreign company. I could not be told to go to the office. It sounds like a lot of requirements. Yeah. And I could not start in a junior position. I would have to start in a senior position. And that's what ended up happening, by the way. Yeah. So, but the thing I learned about doing things from passion is that it helps you get really, really, really good at what you're doing. Because, so while you might not be doing it for the money, the fact that you enjoy doing it means that you can do it longer, which means you can get better at it over a certain period of time. For sure. And when you're good enough that they can't ignore you, that's when you go to them and you're like, that will be $10,000 per month.
Yeah.
As opposed
Yeah,
to where you maybe be paid like $500.
But you
as an
see,
example.
we're still also, both of us, we can agree, Kenyan companies,
Yeah.
if you're passionate, they can really break you down.
And they can exploit you.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
That's why, still, even for me, at the end of the day, that's why I was saying, like, yes, I was passionate about, like, but you can still see, like, even like my production and everything, I'm passionate. And this is not because I'm getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
If I was getting paid to do this, like, that's a whole different story.
And this is a really cool setup.
I
in
appreciate
case
it.
people haven't seen the...
I mean, I try post it behind the scenes so that you can appreciate it some more. But I think somebody comes here in person, now they're like, oh, now I understand. I completely
It's
understand.
amazing. I love it.
So thank you. Thanks a lot. But yeah, so the passion thing, and I understand completely how you're saying. But for my case, I can't say there's anybody who came looking for me, because now, yes, I was passionate. But I can't say there's somebody who came and told me, like, okay, how much do you want? Nope. Nope. Nobody came to do that. And the only way I got to, let's say, a bit of financial freedom was now that learning about, like, just finances and taking risks.
I have follow-up questions to that, though.
No. We can. What I can disclose, I'll disclose. What I can't,
So
you'll know it's for obvious reasons. You know why?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I won't ask like any specific numbers, but I'll ask what does financial freedom mean to you?
For my case right now, I'll say I don't have to work. If I just wake up and eat fruits jog.
Let me be more specific.
Yeah.
What requirements need to be met in your life for you to feel like you're financially free if you do not work?
No. That question. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like,
before I start blabbering my mouth here?
Yeah. So is it like I can eat, I have a place to sleep, and
I don't have to worry about eating. I
like
don't have to worry about
needs.
sleeping. No.
Yeah.
And even people are proximity by me. If they need something, I can. If it's an emergency, I can come through for them. That's freedom for me. Even though it's not like, it's not Andrew Tate status, but
why don't you own a Lamborghini?
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking of like being because I understand, because a majority of people have to wake up in the morning to go to work.
Yeah.
A very big percentage. So I would just say, like, if I don't have to, that already sets me aside from a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But it's not because I'm special, but I can say it's like I know something that other people don't.
Share the secret.
Oh, it's just financial literacy. It's financial literacy. I can't break it down completely, but just the way I'm talking about, like, knowing how to set up, like, even things like bonds, of course, like if you're doing through the bank, they will require you to have a certain amount of money. Of course, 1,000 shillings, 2,000. Even though they have, all these banks have like these two small limits. They're like, yo, bring your money, it will work for you. But 100, 1,000, 2,000, those things are not compounding to anything anytime soon.
Yeah, which goes back to the point of people who have more capital make more money. Like they get higher returns.
Yeah.
So...
But how do you get to that
exactly
high risk? I had to risk it all.
Yeah.
I had to risk it all and like actually say like put all my eggs in one basket. I can't disclose everything, of course, because, listen, that's just not how it works. But people who know me, and even you can check like through my Instagram, that's why I've never deleted like everything like from the past, so that somebody can identify and see the growth.
Like that progression.
Yeah, they can't just say like I woke up one day and
you have
I was
a lot
doing
of posts though. I can't even look at them.
11,000. It will be a waste. It will be a waste of time if you're trying to backtrack. 11,000.
Yeah.
But anybody who has time to go back, they will see the growth, the whole process. They see, and probably if they're smart enough, they can pick where things changed and what I did. But that's not for me to say. That just has to be like, whoever is that curious, they can backtrack.
11,000.
But it's there. It's there. You'll see everything. I tried this. And I'm always talking about what I'm doing. Always. So I've never been like a secretive person, but also we have to understand like, how the government is moving. We have to be slightly smarter as well with things that we're doing, so that we're still within what it confines us to do.
Yeah.
And also, because of course, that's where centralized, decentralized systems,
Yeah.
you know how both these two are still not working together hand in
Yeah.
hand.
For clarification, for
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know what a centralized system
Please,
is.
please, yeah. Define it for them.
So a centralized system is like where a central organization controls the resources. So in this case, we have a government. The government prints money, and then the banks act as the medium of like storage and transfer, sort of. So that's centralized. We rely on the government to provide us with a currency that allows us to spend in the nation.
Yeah.
And the government is the only entity that can create the money. But in a decentralized situation, we skip the government and I directly transact with you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I phrased that in a legal way.
No. It's the right way. Because even like, honestly speaking, even like on small scale, you can notice like even now, the government is really trying its best to tax everyone at the lowest part possible. Even like it's Mama Mboga, no, we need to know how much you made. We need your taxes here. So all those two things that people keep complaining about, but also we also have to understand the reason why I would say go for things like bonds if you can manage to raise money. Because at times I hear people saying like, hey, I was scammed. And I was like, I didn't even know you had that amount of money. What do you mean you're scammed? So you raised this money, you put it on this project and it wasn't successful.
Yeah.
I would say buying bonds is like investing in the government. Do you think this government is about to fail anytime soon, the way it's collecting taxes?
Well,
nah, that's not happening.
I'm not saying it's going to fail though,
Yeah.
but they had put out a bond, and I just saw this today, that they had put out like they wanted to raise 15 billion.
Yeah.
And they only managed to raise, I think, like 3.4 billion. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
So clearly, like, there's, and I'm no expert on this, but there's, as much as they're trying to collect as much tax as possible, also the investors are a bit more reluctant to put money into it. I don't know how that's going to play out long term, but we'll see.
But they're still talking to the other countries for funding, which
That's-
is going to come. And
yeah,
also
that's
we need
true.
to understand that it's not just our government that needs money. Everyone borrows money. Even the states, they are in debt.
But they borrow their own money.
Yeah. No,
So-
but okay. Now here's the thing. We also can't compare ourselves like to states. Because, there's also the whole BRICS thing, and people are saying, like, what's your thought, first of all, on the BRICS thing?
I think it's brilliant.
Hell
To
no.
clarify, to clarify again, just to
No, that's good. Put some context to what we're talking about.
BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Yeah.
And in, I think, 1970 something, the US moved from gold reserves into becoming the world reserve currency. So the US dollar became the reserve currency.
Yeah.
And, well, how that poses a problem is America can print their own money. So
True.
They can increase how much of the reserve currency they have. And if that's the currency that every other country has to hold, then they can artificially increase their own power. So a couple of nations decided, you know what, I don't like that. And that's the BRICS. They formed this alliance and they're trying to de-dollarize, which is to move away from using the US dollar. So, that's the context you need to understand about BRICS. And there's a bunch of countries that have applied to this. So,
But you've said this, you think this is a brilliant idea.
I don't think it's brilliant because it like undermines the US or anything.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant because it brings up the conversation of, do we really need to have one monopoly?
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. Can I just at least respond to that?
Go for it.
My thing would be, I don't mind the whole BRICS thing, but look at the heading nations that are trying to do that. We're talking about China and Russia. There is no way in hell you can tell me to trust those two countries. Impossible. Because if guys are concerned about, like, the states printing money and everything, you wait until Russia and China. Because, China has been buying everyone, right?
Oh, yeah. And
And
they
everything
also,
right
now.
They print as well.
And they
also
also track everything.
Yeah.
So-
Like, there's just something about, and this is just like a move and tactic that they've been doing like for several years.
Yeah.
Like here, like even like Jamaica, there's like a huge portion of it is now just owned by China.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it's not just that. Like other countries as well, they'll come, help build this. They're like, okay, in return, we want this.
Yeah.
And they've done that with so many other different countries. And they are never in politics screaming or anything, but they just buy slowly.
True power is silent.
So you're trying to tell me that's not even alarming. You'd be like, sawa. We want to get into into bed with these guys because of BRICS. Say they want to dethrone the US. What has US ever done to us that's bad?
By us, do you mean humans or do you mean Kenyans?
Kenyans.
Well, I can't say that they've done anything.
Is there
to
anything
us.
specific
No.
that you can pinpoint?
No, not really.
Are they trying to own anything like actually like?
No, I think
China?
I think they're a lot more friendly.
Yes.
And in case this blows up, let me not say anything.
But just think about it. Like Russia is cutthroat with how they do everything.
That's true. So it's
China cutthroat
China
with
is
how
like-
they do everything. So
Yeah.
we need to understand, like, we need to be very careful if that's what we want to get into.
Yeah.
Because once we're in there, there's no coming out because they do contracts and everything, and they always like have this even leases like for like I don't know, like for 100 years.
So here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Like with BRICS, at least maybe I've misunderstood how they intend to like de-dollarize.
Yeah.
From what I had understood, it's every country can pay in their own currency. It's not that you will use China's currency or you will use India's currency. You will use your own currency. So do you think there's a problem with that specific thing? Yeah, I understand that trusting Russia and China is a problem.
The whole thing would be, yes, that's something that they're encouraging. But even now with the way things like inflation and all these things are happening.
Yeah.
So what's the point of us not having a currency like the dollar that we can use like a standard measure of everything else and now start using like the Kenya shillings where we can barely even like pay anything for anymore. Like if you're getting a certain salary before COVID, now it's post-COVID. Of course, that salary wasn't
shillings, to be clear.
in shillings,
Yeah.
to be clear. Of course, that salary hasn't even been increased because, for one, businesses haven't recovered from that like damage that they took then.
Yeah.
And then now, of course, they cannot increase your salary because they have to maintain. The only way the company can survive, first of all, is by cutting costs. And cutting costs includes cutting down like your salary, first of all.
Or firing people.
Actually firing people, cutting down on salaries. That's now if at least your company survives, because others, of course, others just died immediately.
Yeah.
But that just leaves us in a place where even our own currency. Do you invest in like foreign currency?
No comment.
Okay. There we go. There's a reason why that's a good standard for measurement, because even for, let's say, anyone who does investment, they understand completely what it means. Because let's say you have 1 million shillings in the bank, in the Kenyan bank. You had that last year.
Yeah.
This year, that's not the same amount of money you have, or even what you could do with it last year is not the same thing you can do. That's the
true.
easiest way we can explain. Is that how we can explain inflation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you can break it down maybe in other easier terms or words, because I know you've done it like even on your page, and you're really good at doing that as well. Maybe you can explain inflation so that guys can.
Okay, so picture this. When you were a child, how much was a loaf of bread? Like maybe like 25?
25, something there.
So, but how much is a loaf of bread now? It's like 60 bob. The thing is, it's the same money.
Yeah.
So why has the price increased? It's because the value of the currency has decreased. That's what inflation is.
And then you want us to use our own currency.
No, I'm not saying...
How do you even retire? How do you even retire?
I'm not saying we should use our own currency. If it were up to me, I would say we would have some kind of cryptocurrency. But...
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So you see why the BRICS thing is... It's interesting, but...
dangerous.
It's so dangerous. And also it needs like, what kind of system will we have in place?
Yeah.
Just to make sure that we're keeping track of all these other... Because us using the US dollar, it kind of helps us a bit. Because you know why? Let them do all the work. The systems and everything. Akina, SEC, Federal Reserve, they have like all these people and teams who are making sure like the dollar stays to where it's supposed to be in a certain way, like they balance out their loans and everything. But now for us, what systems do we even have in place that will ensure anything doesn't go wrong when we're getting in bed with China and Russia?
So here's the interesting thing. This is how I think the whole BRICS thing will play out, and not from a political point of view.
Okay.
But I think what will end up happening is for some time it will be people are using their own currencies. And then after some time, they'll be like, okay, let's create our own euro. Or is it the euro that's used?
Yeah, that was very interesting by the way.
So they'll say, let's create our own euro. And then we'll just end up, like history repeats itself.
Yeah.
So what I think will happen is...
with our politicians, with the corruption that's there, like in African countries.
Yeah. So what I think will happen is they will convince people to ditch the dollar. People will ditch the dollar, and then everyone will start paying in their own currencies. And they're like, oh, this is really nice. And then they're like, okay, but converting is inconsistent. So let's create one unified currency, which again is going back to something similar to what the dollar was. And then once they've done that, they will say, okay, so depending on maybe the time you joined or how many seats your country has in BRICS, that's what determines your authority to produce this currency. So the people who joined early on will probably be very incentivized to have those seats because they will be able to control the new currency.
Of course.
At the end of the day, I think we'll just end up in another situation where it's like it's like the dollar, except we're just changing masters.
Yeah. But which master would you prefer having?
Yeah, of course, the US.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is not that I support BRICS.
Yeah.
It's that I think it
a
brings
good
up
idea.
it brings up a conversation around do we want to let a central organization control the entire world's economy? Like if the US economy drops and they're the reserve currency, everyone suffers.
Now here's the thing. People always bring that up, but it's just also like it's even like just with the bonds as well, because this is always like a debate I'm always having with people. And it's always good to pick people's brains. Yeah. Because people are always saying like, hey, what if you've bought bonds and then like, the government collapses? I'm like...
what are the odds?
No. But I'm just like, listen, are you even listening to what you're saying? That should be the least of your concern because there are so many other things that are in play. And I'm looking at it like, I'm small scale. I'm a small scale investor to the government.
True.
Do you know how many or how much more when you hear like maybe when you hear like someone like was it Uhuru got from NCBA, his dividends were like at around close to 1B there, like 900M or something. Yeah, close to that. Like I shouldn't be concerned. What do you think?
How do you think
he's like actually? So they can't even allow that. Like and, they are way much bigger people,
and
in
they
the
have
picture.
the power to make sure that things don't break.
That it can't happen. It's not like just about me. They're not even concerned about my money. They're like people who are actually big investors. We're talking about like Kenya has billionaires. It's just that they can't be put on Forbes. For obvious reasons, of course. But those people cannot let the government fail in any way because they're like, yo, what's up? If there's something happening in that fishy, they make that phone call. It's like, yo, we need to straighten this up because we're supplying this and this here. There are people who deal with figures that we can't even like imagine, first of all, because that's not where we are in life. You can't even relate to somebody who's saying like getting dividends for 1 billion. How? Yeah, that's not a conversation you can have with them.
Which interesting segue because...
That's why I would tell you, invest in the government. The government is not going anywhere. It's here. It's collecting taxes. It will pay people to pay dividends.
With that part. I agree with that part. But what makes the story interesting is conflict. So...
Conflict how? In what way?
I'm just saying for the sake of the podcast.
Oh, of course. Oh, now this is me every day. If you open the WhatsApp group, it's always my friend is posting something. It's like, hey, guys, no, don't go for this. Buy property. I'm like, what? You said property? In fact, okay, like let's talk about property as an investment. What do you think about like just people who invest in, I'm assuming you believe in digital assets. Is that the case? Look at you like, what do you think? What do you think about people who still, like, let's say, buy land and buildings as a store of value and just investment in general?
Well, good for them. But I'm not against land. I'm against a few things that are tied to typical land investing, which is speculation. Oh, tulisikia kuna barabara itapita hapa. So unajua in the next 5 years it will be double. And I'm like, okay. So if you were to put that money into like a business, you will make way more than that double that you supposedly will get from the land. And then, but I believe in like buying land, not if it's an investment, it's either you're going to develop it or you're going to lease it out to someone for farming or like
it's still some form of investment kind of asset.
Like, but not speculating that the value of this land will go up based on something that you had from...
That the government is going to build something here and then the value will increase times 10.
Yeah. I also believe a lot in putting money, especially when younger, putting money into things that you have a direct control over, the multipliers that make that thing work.
So explain that.
Yeah.
Explain that. I don't want to miss anything.
So let's say right now I want to become...
Assistant, are you floating or you understand what we're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. So let's say you wanted to become a good writer, for example.
Yeah.
So you could say that, you know what, I'm just going to watch all the tutorials on writing. And yeah, I mean, sure, you'll get the information, but you won't become a better writer.
Because you're not doing...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think if you decided, okay, you know what, I can spend 30 minutes every single day writing this particular thing, that's within your control. So what I mean by a multiplier is, let's say I know that if I just did 2 more emails, let's say I was trying to get customers for whatever business, right? And I've marketed and it's maybe just cold outreach. So I'm emailing. Cold outreach is like you're reaching out to people that do not necessarily know you. So I'll email someone and maybe I'll email 10 people, but only one person will respond, right?
Yeah.
In that situation, if the math is correct, you could say that if I spent more time to email 20 people, then I will increase the probability that I get more people. So in that case, it's within your control.
Yeah.
But if you said that, okay, your business relies on the government changing a certain law, that's not within your control.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to start selling, I don't know, like water in glass bottles because the government is getting rid of plastic.
Just pure speculation.
Yeah. I had a rumor that the government will eventually...
Yeah.
So, yes, you could take that approach. But I believe in doing things that are within your control when it comes to investments. And the whole land thing, that's why I'm saying, if you were to say, I'm going to buy this land and I think this is a fertile location, for example, and I will go look for customers, which I'll get to that shortly. I'll go look for customers for that can lease that land and farm on it, for example. So they don't want to buy land, but they want to farm.
Yeah, and then I'll just get money
and then
monthly or semi-annual, whatever it is.
Yeah, because I also think that the most important thing is not cash, it's cash flow. So the most important thing is not that you have the money just lying there, it's that you have a flow of money. So
no, I get you.
I'm also explaining to whoever is...
I understand.
So, again, multiplier. Like if you have control over the multiplier, which is you're the one who can control the outcome, or at least you can do something that can affect the outcome positively, then I think you should go for it. But if you're buying the land hoping for a factor that is outside of your control...
It's too risky. It's too risky.
I don't know. I don't think it is the smartest decision you can make. That's what I would say.
We're still talking about assets. What are your thoughts on just crypto in general?
Okay.
Just your thoughts on crypto in general.
So I think just, I'm a software engineer.
Yeah. So I know why that question I've thrown at you. It's like, FinTech. Sour. Yeah. Tell us your thoughts.
So I think crypto is amazing for so many reasons. The first of which is the decentralization, which is that you and I can transact without an intermediary. We don't have to go through the bank. We don't have to go through the government.
Yeah.
Right? The second reason I think crypto is amazing is because you add a brain to your money if you use things that have smart contracts. That's a lot of words in one. So I'll just...
Especially smart contracts, especially like for a country like Kenya, and I'll let you go back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just when you say smart contracts, I have to jump in because understand even when people always talking about like corruption or I don't know, this politician has done this and that, you introduce smart contracts like this.
Hell yeah.
Guys are home. Everyone is home because they're like, what's the point of even doing this work? Because they can't steal anything anymore.
Yep.
Can't.
Yep. So, for context,
Yeah.
what is smart contracts?
Yeah.
What is crypto? So, crypto, no, let's not go into what is crypto because that's just going to be a long story.
And
But
you can just summarize it in a very, because I'm always saying it, but I don't have the right terms on how I can explain it. And even you can imagine this can be like one of the reels somebody can go through and like, okay, this is a different way it has been defined.
I got you.
So yeah.
So, first, we used to trade with gold. But then gold got too heavy and we started creating paper currencies. And because the aristocracy or the royalty wanted to control the finances, because that's how you control the kingdom, by controlling the treasure, currencies started being created by governments, right? But then merchants started accumulating a lot of wealth. So they started carrying a lot of money around. And if you're walking around with, just picture this, you're walking with 1 million in CBD and people know that you're walking with 1 million in CBD. What's going to happen to you? I'll wait. But what ended up happening is the government now came up with this system of checks, which is I can write something that is like a promise that I will give you your money when you come back with this thing. Okay? So we went from, first we started actually with barter trade. Then we went to gold. Then gold became too heavy. So we came up with paper currencies.
Yeah.
And around that time, the ruling powers
Which we can call fiat.
Yeah, fiat currencies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ruling powers used to control the money. And then now we've gotten to the point where, yes, the government prints the money, but people are questioning, should the government control the money?
Yeah.
And that's where crypto comes in. Because what crypto does is it allows you to say, okay, the government doesn't control the money. No one controls the money. I can interact with you through this piece of software that can say that you shared this much money with me without the government having to be involved. And we can verify that the transactions are correct through something called a zero trust system. And there's different ways of verifying these transactions. But all it means is the government is no longer involved. I can directly share money with you or transact with you, put simply. I don't know if that's too long for a
No. But
You'll
we'll still chop
chop
it up
it up.
because we have like YouTube highlight and then we have a reel. But it defines kind of what it is. And there's a way she knows how to chop them down, how it's needed. So that's like also a clip already.
Yeah. So now moving on to smart contracts. What are smart contracts? So we mentioned that there's this software that allows you to transact money between each other. And basically every person will have a copy of this software and that's a much long explanation.
Yeah.
But
we need to break it down in the simplest way possible.
Yeah. But what smart contracts are is imagine if your money had intelligence, right? Because right now you might think of, I want to buy bonds.
Yeah.
Right? But what if you could have something like if your money, and this is a difficult concept for people to wrap their heads around.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
If your money could know that it should buy bonds and buy the bonds instead.
Yeah.
Like without you having to say, go buy these bonds. Let's say someone had figured out, okay, the best investment strategy for you to retire by whatever age you want is 20%. And they created a contract, which is just an agreement that says, anytime money comes in, take 20% of this money and buy this asset class, which is bonds.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that smart contracts allow you to do.
Yeah.
There's also NFTs. NFTs are a type of smart contract, which is basically this thing cannot be modified and it cannot be deleted, but it can change owners.
Yeah.
That would work for something like cars.
Yeah.
So you can change the logbook, but you can never destroy it. And that means that you can always confirm who the owner is.
Yeah.
And
you can just go somewhere and actually check, authentify, without all these middlemen that now people are crying about.
Yep.
Supposed to be helping us with.
And in the case of something like governments, this could mean that you can build contracts for the entire budget. Right now, it's obviously humans.
No government in Africa is going to allow smart contracts.
And the reason is because right now the government, they'll have a budget. There's a 1 billion set aside for something.
Accountability, man.
100 million goes.
Yeah.
And the thing about crypto is there's transparency. So it means you can see where every single transaction happened. And, probably
that's why you should understand why governments are so much against it. Because we have to understand, even as much as people say that African politicians are corrupt and everything, bro, this thing is international. Even in the States, there's some still politicians who coincidentally a company stock falls off. Yeah. It happens that's when they were buying.
There's actually a very interesting conversation around this.
Yeah.
Where Congress people should not be allowed to trade because they make the decisions that allow for the trades to happen.
Yeah. Because they always somehow end up owning something.
Yeah. But there's also this saying that how it's supposed to be is the people are supposed to know everything about the government and the government is supposed to know nothing about the people. But it's the opposite. The government knows everything about you.
Everything.
And you know nothing about it. So the transactions that happen between government officials or government departments, you have no idea what's going on.
You can't even question anything because not even for you it's speculation. Because even if they ask you, it's like, oh, you're saying we ate money, where is it?
And if you question, it's treason.
Of course. Actually true. True.
And if you question, it's treason. And I just think that governments, in general, governments are good, but human beings are impure. And when things like greed take over, a person will sit down and think, I could build this road.
Yep.
Or I could pay this person that guarantees me that I'll stay in power, which there's this whole power dynamic. Are you familiar with the keys to power?
No.
Okay. So in order to attain power, you need to understand who the keys to power are in any government. And if you're in a democracy, then that means that the power is supposed to be fragmented. So there are more keys to power in a democracy. So Kenya is a democracy. I don't know why I use quotes.
No. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Kenya is a democracy. So the keys to power will be... this is actually based on a video by some guy called CGP Grey. And the keys to power are the people that allow you to maintain power. Because no man rules alone. And a king's power does not come from... being able to act and do everything. It comes from being able to get other people to act on his behalf.
Yeah.
So in Kenya, you can just distribute the keys to power as the three arms of the government: executive, legislature, and judiciary. And if you control the people at the top of each of those, then you can, you can have the power. And there's always keys to power at all levels. So the minister has people below him or her, or they.
The hierarchy is just all over, trickles down. Yeah.
And the thing is, as soon as a key to power is threatened, or if you see that a key to power is no longer cooperating with you as the king being the president in this case.
Of course.
Yeah. Then you need to get rid of them. Because if you don't get rid of them, then you're threatening your own power. And the thing... So this also explains why... Because people are usually like, why does the government do the things it does? I have a very quick explanation. So remember that the job of the king is to distribute the treasure.
Yeah.
And any treasure given to the citizens is treasure not given to the keys to power.
True.
And the most important thing for the king is to stay in power. So if the king decides to give this treasure to the citizens, aka reduce the taxes, do this, then it means that the keys to power get less treasure. And if the keys to power get less treasure, what will they say? We're going to replace you with someone who takes care of our interests better.
Who knows how to do it?
Exactly. So it's usually a delicate balance for the people that are in power, because they need to both please enough people to keep the power, because the keys required to, again, attain power and the keys required to keep it are different.
Yeah.
And you'll see this with, when someone was campaigning, they had a certain gang, and then once they've won, they kick out a bunch of
All
people.
of a sudden, like...
Yeah. And you wonder, okay, why is this person also using some officials from the previous regime? It's because those people are the keys to power, and that's how they maintain their power. So...
And that's why I was saying...
Yeah.
It's very hard, like, when people come up with these theories, like, hey, the government is about to collapse, bruh. The government is not... It's
collapsing
not, it's not like that MPESA container so that you'll just close it tomorrow. That's not how it happens. Like, there are so many people worth billions who are there to make sure this does not happen, because you cannot screw up with a system that's already working for them.
And you'll find those are the people who control the keys to power.
Of course.
And the keys, the keys are controlled by the king. And, the king,
those people are behind the scenes and they're quiet. They never make any noise. For them, it's just actions. They'll just push here, push there.
Exactly.
And I think also, like, if I was to go back to even the question of when I asked your thoughts on crypto, because I would say the president opened the discussion of, like, these people in crypto, I want to put a tax of, he said, is it 3%?
Yeah.
He said 3%. And then in my head, I was just like, so 8 to 5, 37, 38%, even they're close to that right now. And crypto, I was like, not bad, Mr. President. I agree with you. That's perfectly fine.
Here's my question, though.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Should a centralized organization tax a decentralized asset?
It shouldn't, but we also have to understand. Then again, I also you have to remember, we're in Kenya.
Yeah.
And we've just said people with the keys.
People with the keys want to stay in power.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
if all they have to do is, like, say, like, okay, like, you guys, come on, man. We don't understand what's going on here. Well, like, we need 3% of this. I'm like, for crypto, take 3%.
Yeah.
Compared
because
nobody else will ever say that their tax is just 3%. Everything else is like skyrocket there, and people are crying daily. Yeah. So if there's anything you need to understand, it's like, if the government is giving you an option of paying 37 and 3, which side would you rather be on? That should say, now, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying, like, where would I'm just saying, where would you rather be? Where would you rather be?
Yeah.
And, it's just always like an interest conversation to have with people. It's like, I always try and tell people, just go and do your research, because even in that field, it's just something that you have to understand.
Yeah.
So that and that's why even a lot of crypto people always, like, they can touch on it, but they cannot touch on it as much as they want to, because, like, hey, I don't want to step in any wrong toes, because you know what? I mean, if you know, you know. It's just that thing of if you know.
Again, goes back to the government should fear its people. The people should not fear the government.
Yes.
We are living in a backwards society.
Yeah, but
there's not much we can do to change it. So,
where would you rather be?
What are my options?
The options are 37% or 3%. You choose.
Well, it has a 3 in it. That's what I'll say.
Let's go with that. Okay, so now another question I would just throw away, because, like, with finance, we can always... I can talk 24 hours about finance.
Yeah.
But, of course, we have to just touch on what everyone, like even ordinary mwananchi, who's not interested in investment, like, just trying to lure them into, like just try it out. Try it out. Like, if you're to advise somebody to look out for 3 types of, like, let's say, asset classes they can invest into.
Right.
Like right now, like in 2023, that you can just advise, like, okay, these are young guys. It's like, okay, look into this. Maybe in the next 4 or 5 years, it will be beneficial to you, even with the littlest probably investment. But just give it time; it will grow.
I'm very bullish on. Okay, bullish means just.
It's about to take off. It's about to take
Yeah,
off.
like I believe
when you
it's
see a
gonna work.
rocket, when you see a rocket emoji and someone saying like bullish.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'm very bullish on crypto, but I wouldn't recommend it for a lot of people because I feel like you should, at the very least, understand what you're putting your money into. So I don't know if Kenya has index funds, but
A form of index funds in Kenya would be, I would say probably that's the closest would be mutual funds, because mutual funds is
Right.
where you can do like even like
like
your
fractional.
Amazon. Yeah, you buy a pool of like different
Yeah.
like companies and
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so to explain what that is
Yeah.
instead of buying one stock and saying I believe Safaricom is gonna work, like pick something that already has all the companies.
Yeah.
Because then no one can predict the market. So just pick something that has a bunch of companies and go with that as your safe-ish investment. And then just ride the waves. When you see that it's deeping, don't sell. Just
hold.
in fact, buy more. So when everyone is selling, you buy. And then, so that's one, which is, you've said mutual funds do the same thing as index funds. So I'd say mutual funds. And then the third one is the best.
Say it.
And then, but the second one that I would recommend to most people is, again, bonds, which you've mentioned, which are relatively safe.
Yeah.
But the third one is invest in yourself. Knowledge, businesses, just invest in yourself. I think that has the highest return on investment.
True.
So learn more. Let's say you wanted to sell stuff. What are the odds that, like, most people who want to start a business, ask them if they've even watched one video on sales. They haven't.
Yeah. That's
So-
unfortunate.
Yeah. So invest in learning the skills that you need to build a business. And there are common skills that are in all businesses. You'll need sales, marketing. For the most part, that's what you'll need in all businesses. So if you learn sales and marketing, it's going to save you
It will.
regardless.
Yeah.
And negotiation. That's the other skill that people don't talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Because negotiation determines everything. Like, all conversations have some element of negotiation in them. So, yeah, invest in yourself, invest in a business. And let me answer a question you haven't asked, which is, how the hell do you start a business without money?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Okay. Do you believe like you need money to?
No. I used to.
Yeah. Because even for me, I think it's just all you need is an idea.
Yeah.
That's it.
And here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
If you learn sales and you learn storytelling and you learn how to talk to people and convince them that you have a good product, because even if you have a good product and you can't convince anyone, no one will buy it.
Nobody.
So you're better off, in my opinion, going and convincing people to buy a product that doesn't exist, and then going and building that product or service. So I can come to you, let's say I wanted to, let's say I was building websites, as an example,
Yeah.
right? So there's multiple ways I could approach it. If I don't have any money, I can come to you and tell you, you know what, I'm going to build this website for you. It's going to be like this, or like I'll just come up with some drafts, show you it's going to be like this, and it's going to cost this much. But since I haven't built it yet, I'm going to give it to you at half the price.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you don't pay me. Okay? Then I get a confirmation from you. If we can sign a contract, which is a binding agreement, even though I haven't built the site, I already know that I have
Yeah.
this
a kind of investor or somebody
Yeah.
or money, capital.
And I think you can secure a bunch of pre-orders, so to speak, before you build your product.
Yeah.
So you can just approach multiple people and get, let's say you had 10 people that have signed contracts and you have maybe $1 million worth of websites that you need to build, but you haven't built them yet. See, you've already proven that that's a model that would potentially work. Or if I wanted to sell you water, for example,
Yeah.
I am not the best salesperson, but I would say, for example, I would find a way to create maybe some samples.
Yeah.
And then if it's Fiji, for example, I used to think Fiji was bougie.
Yeah.
It is bougie, to be clear.
Yeah.
But if you take other bottles of water and drink them side by side,
Yeah.
you will taste the difference. So the other ones have microplastics. So I would just come to you and tell you, okay, you're a hotel. Now, I have this water. It goes for $2. Now, I understand that you usually sell your water, you usually get your water at 50 cents.
Much less, yeah.
Yeah, you get your water at much, much less. And I understand that. But here's the thing. You are an institution that is known for its excellence.
Yeah.
Let me bring you these different kinds of water. Try them. Just tell me which one you like. And I'll bring them without labels because I'm confident of my product.
Yeah, yeah.
If the one you pick is mine, that you like the most, and you umetoa labels.
Yeah.
So,
Let's talk
yeah.
now.
If the one you pick is mine, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can approach people like this. Literally, you can create like 10 bottles. And you approach people and you convince them that your product is good or show them why your product is better than the other products.
Yeah.
And then get them on board. You don't have to have a factory producing, I don't
True.
know, 1 ton.
Very true.
You can literally produce like 10 liters of really good water. Then use that to acquire potential customers.
Yeah.
Then use the capital that you get from those customers to finance the creation of whatever
true.
business. So I don't think you need money to start a business per se. You just need to look for your customers for the business before you actually try to build a business, because that's faster. Because if you can't find customers for it, at least you didn't waste your money trying to start that thing. You can move on to the next thing. Or you can change your approach. Maybe what you were saying or how you were saying it wasn't working, or your value proposition wasn't right. But you learn this early on, which is much better than learning it later.
Later on, when things are probably backfiring or something.
Yeah.
But you know also who... Is it an individual? Because this discussion is always there. Who came up with MPESA?
I don't think it's an individual based on the conversations I've had.
Because even for me, have you heard like it's an individual who like, you know...
No, I don't think it's
an
individual.
It?
No.
No?
Group
of people or who?
Yeah, let me not say. I'm not too close to the source of truth.
Yeah.
But I think it was Vodafone. They wanted to pilot this thing in Europe. Yeah. This is like Bob Collymore talked about this before he passed. So they wanted to pilot this thing in Europe, but Europe already had like a strong financial infrastructure.
Because...
I don't know.
Because I just came from Europe. And the craziest part is like the only thing that I didn't understand is our MPESA is so easy
but
to work with.
Yeah, now you're speaking like post-economically, which is after MPESA happened, is Kenya in a better position than Europe? What I'm asking is, before MPESA, which country was in a better state? Not which country, which Europe is not a country. Which anyway, the story that I've had is that Vodafone wanted to pilot it somewhere, and they decided to pilot it in Kenya. But in order for it to work, they had to they had to set up the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And let's even assume, let's go with the alternative story, which is, there was this person who had the idea for MPESA and then it was stolen from them.
Yeah.
Right? Let's assume you had the idea for MPESA. What makes MPESA work? Like, what is it that makes it so that it's very simple for you to use MPESA?
I guess it's just like text message.
Yeah, but if you think from first principles, like take a step back.
The people, or?
How does your money get into your MPESA?
I text.
So your money gets in through agents.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. No, but now we can do even like mobile banking to.
But we're talking about the inception. Of M-Pesa.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's why the agents actually exist.
So the first thing, and I was in Ethiopia recently, and they're trying to introduce M-Pesa, and you can literally see what Safaricom does to make this thing spread like a disease. I I think they did like 600 million in their first year in Ethiopia. Shillings though, not dollars.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
but what they do is they invest a lot in infrastructure. They make sure even when you go to the deepest part of Ushago,
You can use
you
it.
will find an agent. You can put your money in your M-Pesa. Because if I'm in Ushago, this is before the whole mobile banking thing.
Yeah.
If I'm in Ushago and I want to send money to, or I'm here and I want to send money to my grandmother in Ushago,
Yeah.
she doesn't have a bank account. So, and they need that cash, for example. How are they going to get it? It's the infrastructure. It's the network of agents.
The infrastructure, true.
They first build out, and this is the same thing they're doing in Ethiopia right now. They haven't even launched it, but they're opening agents. You go to places, you just sing
See
M-Pesa, M-Pesa. And they haven't launched, there's something called
Te?
I was going to mispronounce that word. Telebir. So beer is the Ethiopian currency. Telebir is like trying to beat M-Pesa to the game. When I was there, I didn't use it. I don't know why. But the way that, even if you had the idea for M-Pesa, the infrastructural barriers that you would have to jump over.
It's crazy.
They spent, I think, $1 billion before they even started making money.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, sure. I also think that
You can attempt, but it's kind of like a lot. It's going to cost you way much more, probably.
Yeah. Plus, you'll also need to have that network, right? Safaricom already had infrastructure for like telecommunications.
Yeah, they just pick and implement now.
Plus, they have capital.
Of course. Yeah.
So they can set up the infrastructure that allows for people to use M-Pesa so that anyone, anywhere, can put money into M-Pesa, they can withdraw money from M-Pesa. And if you have that met, then it becomes convenient to use it. Because if I know that if I put my money in this thing and I can't take it out, I'm not going to use it.
Yeah,
and I
too
think
risky.
and I think that's part of the reason why T-Cash and Airtel Money, they didn't work out as well. Because how many Airtel Money agents have you seen?
Just trying to use it, first of all, it's a headache already. Because any mall you walk into, they're not there.
Exactly.
They're not there. The small ones that were there, it was like one in a proximity of like, I don't know how far before you get to the next one.
So it's the network effects. That's the thing that makes M-Pesa work so well. Because you know that wherever I am, it's the same as having cash.
Yeah.
Even though I may not withdraw the cash, knowing that I can withdraw the cash gives me the security required to use this service.
Or even to accept payment from someone. It's like, hey, can I pay you with M-Pesa? You're like, yeah, sure. Because you know at the end of the day, you can still go and...
Yeah. And the same thing happened with crypto because it used to be like before we had exchanges.
Yeah.
It's like when someone comes to you and they're like, there was this guy who bought pizzas. You know the story. Yeah, he bought pizzas with I don't know how many Bitcoins. But the thing is, picture this. It was a situation where you don't know how you're going to convert your Bitcoin to cash.
Surely that guy, by the way...
No, retrospectively speaking, he looks dumb.
I don't even want to think about it because I'm just like, it's just the worst thing that can happen to you. Because how will you forgive yourself for that?
Yeah.
How? Like other people are millionaires, other people are driving Bugattis, and here you are looking at thinking about the pizzas that you actually bought with it.
Yeah, but that's another thing though.
It's unfortunate though.
Yeah, it's another thing about human beings in general, which is that looking back, certain things may seem dumb, but in the moment they weren't.
Yeah.
So if you look back at previous presidents, you might think, okay, this president actually did pretty well. But while the president was there, you were like, why the hell would they do this?
Yeah, true.
So it's like looking back.
You're like, hey, yeah, by they actually did a good job.
They actually did a good job, but it's hard to appreciate something in the present. You only realize its value when you're looking into the past.
And that's why I think if you see something like, especially like now, I think we can call it Web3, where we can own part of something.
Yeah.
Like it's so important to understand why you should even just own a bit of something.
Yeah.
Because if it takes off when you are just watching, like if that crypto that maybe you're just like that stock that had potential, like you saw it, people had discussions and you skipped it. This could be potentially the one thing that's supposed to set the next generation of people coming after you set for life.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can now actually even own through exchanges
That's true.
legally in your country.
I won't talk about the legal.
No,
part.
I'm just saying, you know why I'm saying legally. Legally, it's because even the president says they're actually saying because here's the thing.
If they're going to tax it, that means it's legit.
Because the thing is, even when we're having this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because we can mention it for crypto people, they would understand.
Mm-hmm.
If the government didn't want crypto in Kenya, how would you withdraw money from exchanges?
I have an answer to that.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
That we can share here without stepping in any toes.
I'm actually not sure about that part.
Yeah. So there we go. But what I'm just saying, it's because I can say, I won't say the name, but I can say the yellow exchange that has no, hold on. The yellow exchange that has the biggest financial infrastructure in the country integrated in their app. They can't do that without the government's approval. So maybe the government just hasn't figured a way of how they can do their thing. Let me just say it that way. I mean, listen, we have to tiptoe in some other things. But that's what I'm saying. If it wasn't an entity that's acceptable in the country, that portion of the software being integrated there to be able for you to buy and withdraw.
For some time, they'd actually banned that part. And
back then.
Yeah, and through that yellow app, you were able to withdraw through a different means.
Or different means?
Yeah, within the app. That does not involve going through a bank or the government or anything.
Okay, hold on. And still, we're talking about withdrawing fiat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'll show you after the podcast.
Okay, yeah. That's very interesting. But also, I'm just saying, that easy option for people being able to do that with something that they're already familiar with wouldn't have been there because we all know, if the government doesn't want you to do anything, you're parking and you're leaving.
That's true.
Yeah, you're not doing it. You're not doing it in the country.
Yeah.
So they have to say you know what, it's okay. And you know even why they're saying it's okay?
Probably because the keys to power invested in it.
Yes. There's way much bigger there. And that's what I'm saying. You also have to understand, for it to be able to function the way it's functioning, it's the top dogs are there. They're there. So you also don't want to miss a piece of that cake if you can potentially own or buy something. Even just buy and just leave it. Just hold.
And there's this whole thing about waves and how crypto was a wave and now AI is a wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, there's this saying that even if you don't catch the wave, what are you looking at?
No, I'm just trying to check how much memory space we have left.
Right.
We have probably, I'd say 15 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
If we extend it, but we're still good.
Cool, I'm going to wrap.
Yeah.
So...
No, we're still coming for part 2 because, like I said, we haven't, I haven't even looked at my notes.
Oh, damn.
Not even once.
Sorrows.
No, but there's so much. That's why I'm saying, I think it's also important depending on, don't forget your chain of thought.
I am trying to not forget.
Don't forget, because I think it's also very important for us to pick up this conversation depending on how December it's going to be. In the digital asset space. Let me say that we're not using some certain terms that will be just picked up and that digital asset space is going to be. And also remember we have Bitcoin having next year in April there. We also need to see how all these things are going with also Bitcoin ETFs approvals, the discussions that are still going on.
Like BlackRock and
definitely, because BlackRock ETF, if it goes through,
I think it's positive. It's relatively positive right now.
Yeah, and actually, everyone is even now, bigger people are just yo, you need to approve this. You need to approve this.
Yeah.
But if that thing is approved.
Oh, for context, by the way, BlackRock is one of they manage a stupid amount of money. I think it's $10 trillion or something. I don't. I don't know the exact number, but it's huge.
Should we say it's the biggest asset
Manager.
in the world?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Because it's BlackRock, and then who else would be coming in like top 5? JP Morgan is somewhere top 5?
Probably, and...
Is the other one? What's the name of the other one?
I'm trying to think of... I'm not sure the ones I know are top 5, but they're definitely big.
The top 5 that people are having discussions and decisions are probably almost like being made around them. I would say BlackRock, JP Morgan, definitely.
The Ray Dalio hedge fund, is it anywhere there?
Ray Dalio is...
His hedge fund. I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
But it's the largest hedge fund.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but Cathy Wood...
I think it's called Bridgewater Associates or something.
Okay, let's say top 10.
Yeah, it's probably
Let's
there.
say top 10, somewhere there. But I'm thinking the ones that kind of like the government is trying to like negotiate with, because like they're holding like a lot of people's money that needs to go somewhere, because you can't ignore technology that's already growing. True. And that's why the conversation is like, you need to approve this ETF thing, because, we don't miss out on anything. Because can you imagine these guys miss out on investing in that, and then small individuals are bought into it, and then they decide to come in later. Hey, bro.
It's going to pump hard.
And Trent will be slapping people, in public, just walking around.
Yeah.
So I think it's just interesting to have that conversation depending on where December the conversation will be, and also like probably January or whatever. We can do something in December there, see the conversation where it is.
Yeah.
And then, after the Bitcoin halving also, we're just like...
I'm very bullish on crypto in general.
Because we're not even thinking about... That's why even when people are talking about the Kenyan economy, I'm like, it's okay, but you also need to understand, like, we spend so much time on social media, and you have to realize... Anytime you're going like on your computer and then you do like www and then do the dot, whatever handle you're putting there, understand that means now you have the access to World Wide Web. World Wide Web. So don't forget those three W's mean that you're having access.
You're connected to the whole world.
Whole world.
Yeah.
So don't limit what you can actually like now explore in terms of investment.
Oh, yeah.
What's out there for you and what you could potentially build in a certain duration where things are still like rapidly growing.
That's true.
Don't miss out on anything, guys. Please. I would want to give out more information.
So, because some people might take what you say literally, and then, someone loses money.
No, don't trash.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah. This is just our discussion here that we're having.
Yeah.
Okay, if you pick anything from it, you can go do your own personal research and invest in whatever you want. But, like, just do personal research. I think that's good. Because even if, let's say, you're opening a barber shop, a kiosk, a restaurant, any type of business, you will still go out and actually like do like your own personal research. True. So that's all we're saying. Just research, because these discussions are just being put out there for free. Don't say like, you're not sharing. No. We're having those discussions. The same way bigger people in other bigger situations and positions are having the discussion. But if it's not advertised out to the public, it means like it's still growing.
Yeah.
But the potential is...
Yeah. I've also remembered the thing I was saying before, which is... So crypto is like a wave. It's like a wave, and then so is AI. And when there's a big wave, you don't need to have a yacht on that wave to catch the wave. You can just be there on your paddle boat. You're still going to catch the wave.
Yep.
Sure, there's people who are going to make billions, but... Even if you make your tens of millions or hundreds of millions, you'll still be fine. So I'm not saying what you should buy. I'm just saying that if there's a wave, might as well put your little paddle board.
Yeah. Don't be left out.
Yeah.
Don't be left out.
Yeah, don't just ignore the wave.
Okay, now, because I'm seeing
it's all
1
good.
hour, 30 minutes. So
okay.
we'll definitely have to come back and finish the conversation, like I said. Yeah. But I would want to ask you, like, Okay, what's the one thing probably, like this is just the last question, not related to finance or anything.
Cool.
What's the one thing that right now you think you're pursuing? And if you got it, it would give your life slightly, let's say, better meaning, direction, or even if it's happiness.
I think happiness has been elusive, and I was with I was working with some folks at Wikipedia earlier this year, and I asked them what's the meaning of happiness, and they said something. There's multiple lessons I've learned from multiple people, but most of the Wikipedia guys were like, happiness is not a destination; it's a journey. So that mindset shift. As for what am I doing, I guess I'm just trying to live better. Treat people with kindness, treat people with love and respect, and live unapologetically. So instead of caring about what other people think, just do you, because they're probably not going to remember you when you die. Just do you.
Oh, that's a very wise way to put it. And lastly, what do you think of the podcast in general? Because have you been to another podcast?
You mean another podcast that's not this podcast?
Yeah.
I had a podcast.
Oh,
Before.
you had one?
Yeah, it was questionable. I'm not gonna talk about that.
Oh, no. But okay, on any other person's platform?
I've given talks. So,
that's not...
no, like a podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I have been on another podcast. My co-founder, the Manifest co-founder, his name is Florian. He had a podcast. It was called TNB. So, yeah.
Still talking about finances?
We were talking more about like tech and news and like just the general landscape of things. I think this is awesome. I think you have a really good setup. You have really good conversational skills, and the audio is amazing.
Amazing, right?
God damn it.
Thank you. But, I hope, like, do you want to plug anything that you have going on, first of all? Because before I wrap it up, like, just tell people where they can find you, what you have going on, and all that, so that in part 2, I'll just have a list of questions like this.
Yeah. So if you want to find me personally, you won't. But if you want to look for, if you want to manage your money better and be able to allocate it better, and all the stuff we talked about, smart contracts, giving your money intelligence, that's part of what we're working on at Manifest Finance. So you can check our Instagram, manifest.finance. That's money spelled as PESA, like MONEY, fest.finance on Instagram. You can follow us there. We'll be sharing updates. Our website is www.manifest.finance. And also working on an AI interview thing that allows you to practice for interviews with AI. You can see that at Ace Interview. It doesn't have any socials. www.aceinterview.xyz or Z, depending on where you schooled. Yeah.
Anything else? That's it. Any talks coming up or anything?
I don't have any talks coming up, but we are about to launch Manifest as a product. So I would highly suggest that people follow us on Instagram, because we think over time we're going to build something that allows people to achieve financial freedom in a more effective and automated manner. And we'll be sharing a lot of that. And we also share free finance videos. So
definitely. Like, I was very intrigued, because I was like, what? Somebody's doing this in Kenya? Like, what? And then I'm going to see, like, I'm like, actually people are following because of and I was like, this is a good community that you're building, and you're sharing information, like, literally it's there. So if somebody probably needs like a one-on-one, they know they can reach out to you and figure out how you can work that out. But thank you so much for coming to the platform. Mad respect, because this was random. And when I say random, it's literally so random. It's CBD on a Sunday. I'm just recording something with my phone, and then it's just like, hey, where do you get that gimbal? But even that, we still need to have that discussion. So I give you my plug. I'll tell you like how you can get it.
Hell yeah. Thanks.
So anyway, guys, just be sure, just reach out to him if you have any questions related to whatever we've just talked about. Even for me, I'm always an open book. What I can share, I can share. What I can't share, unfortunately, it's just not my place. It's not my place, guys.
Yeah.
The Kisscapades podcast is your gateway to holistic growth and personal transformation. Together, we'll unlock the secrets to living a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. So make sure to tune in every week and join us as we explore the essence of what it means to truly thrive. And lastly, show us some love and support in our social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically all the social media platforms that support podcasting will definitely be there. Even with the short clips and reels, you can find us there. And lastly, don't be shy with feedback, suggestions, or any questions that you might have in regards to the episodes or our podcast. It's the Kisscapades podcast. Goodbye.